Well, Arnold gave us this, television gave us this, Disney gave us this, January 2014 gave us this. Maybe next time. Okay, guys, it is official. There are people in Hollywood who have seriously lost their goddamn minds. Well, guys, I have seen the film The Legend of Hercules, and I have to tell you, it is so unbelievably, amazingly shitty. Shitty from beginning to end. Holy hell. Okay, apparently this film stars Keller Lutz, who apparently was from the Twilight series, which, you know, I'm kind of glad I didn't recognize him at first, otherwise I would have hated this film even more. And it was directed by Rennie Harlem, who some of you may recognize was the director of Die Hard 2, which up until last year would have been redeemed as the worst Die Hard film of the bunch. Now, in terms of overall plot, or what plot is supposedly given in this film, this movie serves as kind of an origin story, kind of going into the backstory of Hercules, kind of how he was born, and how he was kind of treated like as an outcast, and how he kind of ends up joining some gladiatory events, and how the king kind of hates his guts, but someone's related to him, and then Hercules is kind of treated like a traitor, and then he escapes and then sets up this giant rebellion to take on the king, and that's really all I can tell you in terms of plot, because I didn't go pay to see this film, because if I had, I think I would have hit the nearest person next to me, and I think hitting someone in the theater would have been much more entertaining than what I got in this film. Now, starting off with the acting, I will give Keller Lutz this. He is probably the best thing about this film, because I'll give him this. He actually somewhat has a believable look for Hercules, and he is really trying his ass off to deliver the shit dialogue he is given to work with. But I'm sure he's a nice guy in person, but he is really not that great of an actor in my opinion, and when you have just kind of a mediocre actor given shit lines to work with, it doesn't really work. And the rest of the cast either is completely underwhelming and not really delivering their lines very well, or overacting and just yelling and groaning for no reason to kind of make this movie unintentionally funny. Because every time they execute a line and they're like yelling or groaning for no reason, I just find it hilarious. And the action scenes. The action scenes all suffer from one serious problem, which I thought we were over with years ago, but it is the overuse and abuse of using slow motion. Why is slow motion still being used like this in 2014? I mean, honestly, the only reason I can understand anyone using slow motion is if a scene is moving so fast that if you don't slow it down, then you can't see what's going on. But heck, these action scenes, I could see them running in normal time, and they're not that great, but at least, you know, they're not using slow motion. They're not making this movie longer than it has to be. And I think that's the only reason that they even used slow motion in this film, was to make the movie longer. And when you have to use slow motion to make your movie longer, you know you got problems. And the CG and green screen for this film is downright atrocious. I mean, who was responsible for using the green screen? Did they know how? I mean, I can admit I'm not quite there with my channel yet, but I'm pretty sure when I start using green screens, maybe a couple years from now, it won't be as bad as this film, hopefully. Now, and it doesn't really help that this film is rated PG-13. I can understand that they want to keep it at a PG-13 rating, maybe to bring some parents, bring their kids to go see this film, but this is the type of film that you bring your teenagers or kids to see this film to torture them. And I can just see it now that there's some middle school kid that's going to see this film, write a report on it, and say, this is the Legend of Hercules, and then fail the class altogether. Look, if they had at least given it an R rating, they could have done something to make this movie entertaining. They could have had some really cool blood use. They could have really able to show Hercules' incredible strength. Maybe we could see an action scene of him ripping someone's arms off or doing some serious backbreakers. Or maybe we could have seen some breasts in this movie. I don't know. Give me something to stare at. I'll give you a couple points for that. But there's one good thing in this film that I will openly admit that, although it was done terribly, I actually quite enjoyed. And you've probably seen this in the trailers, And it is a scene where Hercules is kind of all chained up, and he breaks the chains and they're attacked with these rocks. And throughout the action scene, he's just swinging them around and hitting people. I'm absolutely convinced that that was a throwback to God of War. And that is the only good thing. It was done terrible, and the CGI made it look like an atrocious scene, but heck, at least they had the courtesy to mention God of War in a way or two. As you can tell, I absolutely didn't enjoy this film. Just avoid it. If you want to see any movie this weekend, go check out The Lone Survivor, because it is quite possibly going to be the only great film that comes out this month. And for those reasons, I'm going to have to give The Legend of Hercules a D-. Just stay away from it, or if you're going to see it, make sure you're drunk with a group of friends, so that maybe your rowdiness will make the movie that much more entertaining, if it was ever entertaining to begin with. If you like this movie review / rant, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to track my future movie and video game reviews. You can also press one of the links in the description down below to follow me on Twitter or friend me on Facebook, and I will be sure to friend you and follow you back. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.